Hello, everybody. First of all, thank you for the invitation to present today. It's quite a privilege to be surrounded by so many peers who already value co-creation and the power that that can actually have in the work that we do. So my name's Sharon Mackay, and today the story I'm going to tell you about is 5,000 Plus, the integrated design strategy for Inner Adelaide. Obviously 5,000 Plus is our postcode. It always amazes me how many people don't realise that until the end. It was a partnership that began in 2011 and wrapped up in 2012. We're seeing the outcomes of that now. So why an integrated design strategy? Well, we all have a desire for a healthier, more productive, healthy, affordable city, one that might be safer and greener and connected to parklands. But the reality is it actually often doesn't happen like this. It can be more ad hoc. In a city where the state government's responsible for the roads, the local government may be responsible for the footpath and the street trees, and Telstra or a private company owns what's under the ground, and poor Bob there probably just wasn't told to move his car on the day. The 5,000 Plus project really trialled a new kind of approach to governance to help affect change in our city. It had 3 tiers of government. I had 17 bosses around the table. It was had experts, the community, people who make decisions, a bunch of designers and also legislators sitting at that table. Instead of asking everybody what they wanted, where someone might say that they want roses and someone else might say that they actually want native trees in their parklands, we began talking about values instead. And we listened to experts, we researched really deeply, and we shifted from motherhood statements into the messiness of very complex issues about our cities. Then we also cut to the chase. We communicated early and clearly to the people that were involved, and far more transparently than before. We identified 20 issues that were key to Adelaide and very specific to Adelaide, not Copenhagen or New York City, although we did talk to them as well. We considered these blockages and hurdles. This particular project, Design Lab, actually took the issue around the West End, and instead of looking for solutions like more CCTV or more policing, we trialled projects like 100 portaloos to stop people using the laneways, or my favourite, this little project where we actually started called The Computer Says Yes, where we actually started rewarding and recognising people who are working in government or even outside of government where they were working innovatively and divergently to achieve the outcomes, really connecting top down and bottom up. So if we want to drive change in our cities and really effective change in a more integrated manner, we need to speculate and we need to design really early on in the process and not be afraid to do so. We need to be able to consider what we could do rather than, or what could be done before we should decide what should be done. The value of speculation is not about raising expectations, and it's certainly not about raising land values. It's about understanding the connectedness of things through design and including people and place and processes that might actually affect change. We understand that great places develop over time, they're enduring, and it requires great change and shifts in all those things. We certainly don't see change in an election cycle, and it's really important that we have great grand visions about how to get there. And this allows for quite tactical moves to be made over time by multiple stakeholders in collaboration with that, and with that big picture in mind, because good change doesn't happen overnight. So the story of 5,000 Plus, if I could describe it in triangles, which is about to come up, was really to explore a system that we currently employ and try and understand what the challenges are. So where we currently look at identifying issues that are often happening not by choice but necessity, that we develop solutions often behind closed doors. We get a really good marketing consultant or possibly an engagement strategy, and we go out for a consultation period. Often it's the first time that people are seeing what the challenge particularly is. The problem with that is if you get it wrong, you've got to go all the way back to the start again, and quite problematic and not time effective. So we flipped the triangle up the other way, and we tested a process where the complex issues were dealt through partnerships, broad partnerships. We tried to understand broader context, and we tested implementation processes. And I'm just going to demonstrate really quickly through this little project that's really close to my heart. This particular project took the challenge of ageing in place and the cost of residential aged care for government and the community, and looked at how we can improve or find more affordable housing options in the inner rim where people could actually age in place. We began by talking to the residents in Unley and West Torrens area, and we discovered that the greatest value in those particular areas was actually the double front stone houses and the street trees, and they really wanted to protect that approach. So we looked at sites that were viable, so really large residential properties, and we actually looked at whether you could put a second dwelling on the same property without doing a 2-for-1 development, so not selling the property, keeping it on the same title. It provides lots of benefits, such as allowing for mum and dad, who now might be grandma and grandpa, to actually move into the other residence, allow their children to move into the main property so that they don't have to maintain it. Maybe they're not interested in that large property anymore. And it allows for a new generation of people. The benefits are reducing costs of childcare because you've got multi-generational families, possible of utilising the same space for gardens and community opportunities. And most of all, we had an amazing response from the community when we went back to them and started talking to them about what they saw for them in this opportunity. And it was really quite special when one woman actually said that she was moved to tears because she said she'd really be able to love for her daughter to be able to not live down south, to be able to move into the property that she was living in so that she could help look after her grandchildren. So this testing really resulted in some inner rim councils now looking at this type of laneway housing. We saw the benefit as that this opportunity was absolutely desirable to many people. It was absolutely and completely viable through just some very small tweaks to the planning policy, and is absolutely now possible in an environment where people feel like they're really engaged in creating their future rather than something happening to them that they couldn't control. So thank you and good luck with your own co-creation partnerships.